Mox Boarding House Thursday night modern stream. I'm one of your hosts.
I'm the other one.
I'm Uncle Esteban.
I'm Skeleton Falk.
A.K.A. Brad Rutherford and Coleman Falk.
Mm-hmm.
Coleman will be filling in for most of round one. Brandon Gross will join me later. Coleman has the bye, so we're going to handle things for now.
Yep.
How are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm looking up and I see a deicide and a drowning sorrow, so I'm not sure how to feel.
Mox takes a lot of pride in their decor. They get prints and original arts, and then they've got some like weaponry next to the bar.
Yeah, it's really projecting an image onto me that I should just feel bad.
So, once again, welcome everybody. What's happening right now is that Judge Frank is currently setting up round one pairings, and we're getting people seated. We don't have a match picked out for you just yet. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to talk for a few minutes while that happens.
Yeah.
So, Grand Prix Dallas next weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Or the weekend after this one, I suppose.
Some weekend coming up.
Yeah, November 4th, 5th, 6th. And you're going with a bunch of the North End guys, right?
Yeah, I am. It's going to be fun.
I'm going as well. I think a good portion of our competitive scene is going. Hopefully somebody from our local scene will do well.
Hopefully. I got to keep my streak of day twoing alive.
Yeah.
It's at all of 3.
We've got a handful of players here that have made really deep runs. I know Steven Peters plays here all the time, and he's been 12-3 at a couple of GPs, including a modern one with Infect. And Richard Neal went 12-3 in Indianapolis with Elves.
Okay.
So a couple of near misses, top 16 finishes for those guys.
Oh wow! I've yet to make a run like that. I got close in Vancouver 3 years ago, but then I was playing Burn, I ran into Boggles, and then it all went down.
We're gonna have 15, 20 Seattle people headed down there.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we'll see a bunch of people. Looks like Judge Frank has picked out a feature match for us, but he has not come by to tell us what we've got.
So we do have a feature match. Hey guys, I'm going to jump in real quick. What's up? Frank here.
Judge Frank!
So for this feature match, on the left we're going to have Barclay Hutton, and he's playing some robots, so he's going to have Affinity. And then on the right we're going to have Shawn Tabrizi, and he is playing Titan Shift.
What's the name of the guy on the right? I'm sorry?
Shawn Tabrizi.
No.
Oh, Barclay Hutton.
Barclay. Okay. Well, I'm going to set this up, and Coleman's going to talk to you about his feelings on the modern metagame.
The modern metagame in a nutshell. I like the format a lot. It's my favorite format by far. But I mean, there is a little bit of the boogeyman in the room. It feels like
Before you get any further, let me at least start the timer, please.
Okay. There is a little bit of a boogeyman in the room.
Sorry, hands off. Thanks, Frank. It's very spooky.
Frank. Okay. Anyway, there's a bit of a boogeyman in the format in terms of Dredge. It just had a very good showing at the last Star City.
9 in the top 32.
Yeah, it's a pretty high percentage. But I mean, every deck's beatable. You just have to play the right sideboard cards, play the right style of deck. And, I mean, But, I mean, after all of that, you still have your traditional good decks in the format, like Jund, Blue Eye, Affinity, even Ad Nauseam showed up. You've still got the quote-unquote classic decks that are good.
Yeah, that's one of the charming things about Modern is that even though the metagame does shift largely...
Titan shift, perhaps?
Yeah, there are some Titan shifting, but by and large, most of the top 20 decks are established and they're all going to be playable.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up that talk and go down to the match. On the left, we have Mr. Barclay. I couldn't quite spell his last name, so I'm not really sure. He's playing Robots or Affinity with no Affinity cards.
Oh, he's not playing. Oh, he could be playing the blue spell, the Thoughtcast.
Yeah. Some people still play Thoughtcast, which is how that deck can still call itself Affinity while not being an Affinity deck. There are no Frogmites, no Mirror Forces.
That is a bit of a punt on the name, anyway.
Yeah, there's some misnomers in Modern. Shawn Tabrizi on the right. We've seen Shawn on the cast before. He plays a pretty unique take on Titan Shift. I wonder if he's still doing it. He has elected to eschew Lightning Bolts and go with Seeming Spirit Guides and Chalice of the Void.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Yep. Yeah, he may or may not still be doing that. We don't know. Hello, Frank.
Oh, it's just me.
Affinity won the die roll. Let's see if he got the 5-card challenge. He did not.
We've got Shawn on the other side. Looks like a lot of lands. But, I mean, that's kind of what Titan Shift wants to do.
Yeah, I see a Sacred Foundry. That means he's probably playing Nihiri.
Yeah. He does have a Search for Tomorrow on one, though. It's going to accelerate him up pretty quick.
I do like Shawn's take on this. If he's playing Nihiri, that means he's playing the Emrakul package.
That's true. That's true. So it looks like just a swing over for 2 after playing a Cranial Plating. I mean, this is still a respectable Affinity start, but, like, if I'm Shawn, it looks like he has a Through the Breach in his hand, too. And he has a Pact. Interesting. If I'm Shawn, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Just one big threat to deal with. And I've got the board handled.
Yeah, I don't know if Shawn is or is not playing Lightning Bolts, but regardless, he doesn't have one in his hand, and that's going to hurt in this game.
Oh, especially right here with the second plating.
Yeah.
It's going to turn him sideways for, it looks like 7?
I didn't count it up. I'll just trust you. We'll see what the life total ends up being.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
I've been attacked by a lot of cranial platings before, so I kind of...
You got the math down?
I've got a little bit of the math down anyway.
Yeah.
So Search for Tomorrow is going to come off Suspend. He's going to look for a Mountain, which is really good since he has a Valakut in play.
If he has Anger of the Gods right here, then he's temporarily okay. There is a Blink Moth Nexus that threatens to attack.
How about a Through the Breach that he can't actually cast? So he has a Summoner's Pact. The only problem is he's dead next turn.
Yeah, if he'd won the die roll, this would be a much different game. Welcome to Modern.
Welcome to Affinity, especially.
Yeah, punishing those somewhat slower hands.
Those 50-50s.
Yeah.
So he has a Pact. I'm not sure what he can go Pact for here.
Like in theory, he could Pact for Obstinate Bailoff, but
even then, I don't think that would matter. I think he'd have to have like a main deck Rex Sage or something.
Sure.
And even then, I don't think that would be good enough.
That's just not going to happen. So there's your further reminder that we're playing regular rules enforcement level. We don't have access to deck lists.
Yep.
We're just watching those games, just like you guys are at home. And did you see anything interesting in Shawn's sideboard there?
It looks like he's gonna. It looked like he had Destructive Revelries and Ancient Grudge. And another Anger of the Gods, and actually Engineered Explosives.
Wow.
So it looks like he's prepared for this matchup, or at least for aggressive matchups in general.
Yeah, I doubt that he's put in a bunch of like sudden shocks just for Affinity, but they happen to be good against Affinity. They're very likely for Infect, but having that that enhanced usefulness against the majority of the field.
Yeah, similar to Stony Silence, that's good against Affinity and like Ad Nauseam, for instance. And Tron.
Decent against Tron.
Yeah, I don't like to speak about Tron. Tron and I have a very hate-hate relationship.
A hate-hate relationship?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know Magic decks were capable of hate. But
yeah, you know, most decks aren't, but Tron is very special in that area.
It does work on a different axis than other decks, so it might as well hate people. I'll update the score here. Barclay took the first game.
Looks like Shawn's actually going to be boarding out all the Nihiris and the Emrakul. Interesting. It's probably because he doesn't feel like he can get to 4 mana very quickly, and even then, it doesn't actually deal with stuff like Cranial Plating.
Yeah. So Nihiri, it's kind of an interesting card in the matchup because it can exile a tapped artifact.
That's true. You can exile a Mox Opal if you need to.
It's, a 4 mana answer to like a 2 mana problem.
If it's 2 mana, really. It's really only like 1 or 2.
Yeah, like you could snag a... Well, you'll never snag an Arcbound Ravager, so maybe he's right in taking it off. And I guess...
You really
Steel
can't-
Overseer is only going to tap
Yeah.
at certain times.
You really can't even hit Etch Champion, because that normally has protection.
Maybe it is just worthless.
Yeah, maybe.
Despite, on paper, looking like it does something.
Yeah, maybe. It looks like he also boarded out all the Chalice of the Voids, which is probably a good call.
Yeah, there's a fair number of like 0s and 1s in Affinity, but they're all pretty bad. It's the 2-drops that you have to worry about.
Yeah. So, by the way, pro tip for anyone watching, if you have Spell Snares, keep them in against Affinity. Normally I wouldn't advise... It looks like he actually kept at
That's
least
a Chalice, yeah.
1 Chalice.
Maybe keep him in on the play.
Yeah, maybe. But if you have Spell Snares and are playing against Affinity, keep them in, because the deck is very concentrated on 2.
I was just wondering to myself whether Shawn was going to lead with this on 0, and it turns out he is. That shuts off Ornithopters and Mox Opals.
And Memnites.
And Memnites, true.
See a Memnite game.
We did see at least 1 Memnite from Barclay. That's a card people waffle on with their Affinity build. Sometimes you play 0 Memnites, sometimes you play 2, sometimes you
Though it looks
play
like
4.
it is going to pay off, because Barclay does have an Ornithopter in his hand.
Wow, you got him.
So, hey.
Got him. Blank
Got
that
him.
Ornithopter.
And Shawn actually drew an Ancient Grudge for the turn, so he's doing pretty well to complement that Destructive Reverie in his hand. So it's not looking too bad. And then the Farseek going to come down search for probably Stomping Ground.
Yeah. Yeah, you leave Cinderglades in because they're painless later. Shawn has a grip full of removal.
Oh, it's a Ghost Fireblade. I thought that was a Snow-Covered Plains there for a second. And I would have been very, very confused.
Oh, in Barclay's hand, he's playing Ghost Fireblade?
Yeah, it's a Ghost Fireblade.
Interestingly, Vault Scourge has a color.
That's
so
true.
You have to pay the full price to suit up the Vault Scourge.
Looks like Steel Overseer is going to come down. Now, that's not going to be that bad, although Shawn does have about 4 answers to it, especially the Anger.
Yeah, I feel like he's just going to fire the Anger off here because it's more mana efficient.
Although drawing that second Chalice is a bit interesting.
Yeah, you could, in theory, just kill the Overseer and play Chalice on 1.
Well, he actually doesn't have a land.
Oh, he doesn't?
So, it's either play Chalice on 1 or... I actually kind of like playing Chalice on 1 here, but then again, I've always been a little bit of, greedy.
I like playing cautiously, especially with no lands in his hand. He also has no way to win the game. So the Through the Breach is just theoretically blank for right now.
That's true.
Yeah.
Although, right here, this Ancient Grudge, I kind of want to take down them both and kill the Glimmer Void.
Yeah, I wonder if Shawn... Yeah,
I think he's reading it right now.
Yeah, Shawn sees it. It's an end-of-turn trigger, so if he pops both artifacts, that Glimmer Void's going to eat it as well.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you want to be mana efficient here or just flash it back. Because you can be mana efficient by casting the second spell.
Right.
Although, crucially, those 2 creatures are exiled.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Barclay's doing there. The 2 creatures are exiled from Anger, and then he puts... And they're tapped, or they're in the tapped position.
They're in the tapped position.
Which would normally indicate that they are exiled, and then he put 2 cards on top. I'm actually a judge, so I'm just going to go...
That's fine.
Fix it.
That's fine. I'm pretty sure...
It's not going to matter, I don't think, but we want people to play clean.
I mean, Shawn could be playing a Tarmogoyf. You never know.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Take over for a second.
All right. So Shawn's going to draw for his turn. He's going to pick up a Valakut, which is actually going to be pretty good, but it is going to... It's just not a whole lot of pressure. He's going to play this Chalice on 2, which is going to lock out his own Destructive Revelry, funny enough. And he's going to be stuck with not doing a whole lot, and he might just... and he's come back after getting that sorted out.
I'm back. Normally we don't encourage people to stop matches, but I'm an L2 judge, and I work with Mox Boarding House occasionally, so I don't think Frank would mind.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal either way, I don't think.
I don't think that would determine the game, that's for sure.
Yeah. So we've got an attack from Vault Scourge, and then Shawn actually picked up a second Chalice. So I think he boarded out 2 Chalices and kept 2 Chalices in.
Okay.
But... going after the Ghost Fireblade, interesting. And then, like, Shawn's just stuck on, like, a Through the Breach and a Chalice with basically no action.
So he's live to the 4 Primeval Titans and however many packs that he's playing. It's usually 2 or 3 packs. So he's on either a 6 or a 7 outer here. And that Vault Scourge isn't going to kill him before he draws anything.
That's true.
Now, what could happen, though, is Barclay could come out of this land hole and then start casting relevant cards.
Yeah, but I mean, this Chalice on 2 is going to stop basically all of those 2-drops. I think he's got 2 platings.
So Shawn last turn didn't play the Chalice on 2 because he wanted to fire off his Destructive Revelry.
His Revelry, yeah. And then he played the Chalice on 2 and he immediately draws Destructive Revelry. Because that's the way Magic works.
Justice.
And then I actually thought he was going to try to play it on 3 to get Etch Champion or Master of Ethereum, but if this Vault Scourge ends up doing a lot of damage, it'll be exactly why. Although we are getting close to actually having an active Valakut. So
that's the 5th mountain.
Yeah, that is the 5th mountain.
Yeah, so any future mountains or ramp spells will just kill the Vault Scourge. Maybe that's the reason he killed the Ghostfire Blade.
Yeah, that might be it. Although
Yeah.
Barclay was like nowhere near actually equipping it. So
Correct.
now speaking of ramp spells that he can't actually cast.
Oh, well, he could, but then it would be countered.
That's true.
So I guess the only ramp spells that work here are Search for Tomorrow.
Search for Tomorrow and Fetch Lands. They act as basic ramp spells.
Sure, yeah.
And it looks like these 2 chalices are putting in some significant work. And they're locking out, 6 cards in Barclay's hand?
Yeah. So Barclay doesn't have the 2nd mana, but even if he did, the Chalice would just counter everything of value. The majority of Affinity's real threats cost 2.
Yeah.
It's Cranial Plating, it's Steel Overseer, it's Archon Ravager,
Yeah.
and to a lesser degree, other Vault Scourges.
Yeah, now we've got an attack. He drew a land, so he's going to activate this Inkmoth Nexus. I'm going to send it over. And now suddenly he's on a quicker clock than just a 1/1.
Right. Frank's showing them how to do Infect. There's a way to do poison counters on that, but I think Shawn's going to go old school with that little D10.
Yeah, the die is well, there is the mountain. And funny enough, if he actually had the Nahiri would be excellent.
It would be absolutely insane.
Yes.
I would have actually, if I had a Nahiri, I would have exiled the Darksteel Citadel.
I would have too. I'm glad we're thinking on the same page. Then,
8 turns from now you're dead, Shawn.
That's true.
You better draw something.
Maybe he keeps drawing these, ramp spells. Oh, Search for Tomorrow.
Doesn't do what he wants. I think he actually wants to hold that in case he draws a
Yeah,
Titan.
I agree. I think you want to hold it. I don't think you want to suspend it.
Shawn disagrees. Yeah, I would either just cast that or hold it.
Yeah,
this is the worst of the 3 choices.
I don't think you want to. I don't think you gain anything by waiting 2 turns to cast it. Just because. And then, funny enough, you are being attacked by a 1/1 that doesn't do anything.
He's bluffing his 7-mana instant.
Oh, sure. Yep. Summoning Trap on the way. Oh, that's actually a very good draw for Shawn. Because now he can search for a mountain at instant speed and kill the Inkmoth Nexus.
Yeah.
So that's effectively removing the clock as Barclay does draw the Etch Champion.
We've talked in the stream before about how Moderns...
That was a poor attack.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he was thinking there.
He probably didn't realize that... probably just didn't process that you can go search for a mountain.
Oh,
and
sure.
trigger Valakut.
Yeah. We're on
Barclay's end step as he still has to figure out.
Shawn didn't want to put his deck down because upkeep that Search for Tomorrow was coming off of.
It does come into play untapped, but I don't think that's going to matter at all. And then just Barclay scoops it up.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
So we were going to... I was going to mention before that on stream I've mentioned many times that there's a non-bow element in Modern where you've got cards that don't necessarily fit your deck, but your deck's theme. But you still have to play them because of how potent they are against certain strategies. Shawn elected to play Chalice on 2 despite blanking a good portion of his deck.
Yeah, it's your I guess classic way of thinking. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're playing like I play company mainly, but I've had to play non-creature answers sometimes like rest. Okay, I'm not actually playing Rest in Peace because that'd be bad. Stony Silence. I've had to play Stony Silence before.
I would hope you're not playing this.
Yeah, that'd be
symmetrical.
That's my sideboard strategy. I board in Rest in Peace and board out all my graveyard stuff.
Right.
But sometimes you have to play stuff that is not necessarily antithetical, but is kind of awkward.
Yeah. Which typified by what we saw there in that game. Mm-hmm. Shawn, rightfully played all of his 2-drops and then played the Chalice on 2.
Yeah, and then he just drew a couple 2-drops.
Yep. I think that's okay. It's just like the Grixis Delver deck plays some Angers in its sideboard for the Dredge matchup and for like the.
Yeah, I've seen Bird decks play Pyroclasm.
Yeah. Yep. There's a fair amount of that in Modern, and we see it week in and week out. People say that it's the sideboard format, right?
Yeah, that's true. I've heard before that.
Frank.
That people have been advocating for a 20-card sideboard in Modern, and that I just can't actually get behind.
No.
Because then suddenly you're like, oh, I have 5 cards for this matchup, 5 cards for this matchup, and then 10 cards for other matchups.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought experiment.
Yeah.
The tutor decks, like the elf decks with Corticoin.
Yeah.
And
maybe the Eldritch Evolution decks.
Eldritch Evolution decks, Absent Company decks, even decks with like.
Actually, Gifts Ungiven might be the best deck in that format.
Yeah.
You have to play more answers.
Yeah, you would reevaluate the tutor decks because of how potent they get to be post sideboard. I do like thought experiments. I don't think that's necessarily a good idea.
No, I don't think so either.
It's like we're tied up 1-1. Barclay is on the play. That means it's going to favor him despite sideboard.
Yeah, and I would assume that Shawn probably took out the Chalices on the draw.
Yeah, we did see him fiddling with his sideboard.
As he has a Chalice in his opening hand, so I was clearly incorrect.
He's got a Spirit Guide too. Speeds it up.
Yeah, but he does have a Search for Hour that he's probably going to play on turn 1. And then crucially, he has 1 red source for that Anger and that Spirit Guide, but he's not going to play it till at least turn 3.
True. Barclay's on the slow start.
Yeah, that's very good if you're on Team Shawn. Oh, just going to fire off the Chalice on 0.
I like that.
I'm not sure if I actually like that here.
Well, the thing is that a good Affinity player doesn't necessarily play all their 0-drops on turn 1.
Sure.
Because you're not going to attack with an Ornithopter, most likely. And a Mox Opal isn't always going to make mana.
That's true.
So you can have the start like Barclay did, and then on turn 2 play Ornithopter, Opal, and then do a burst of things.
I guess that's fair.
So if Shawn knows Barclay, I don't really know him. But if you've gauged his skill as above average, then that's a very solid play.
Tribelge is actually very good if it's be in combination with the Anger, since he's going to be able to search for both mountains on the next 2 turns.
Correct. Yeah, next turn he's going to have access to 5 mana. Assuming he has a land in his hand.
Yeah, and then, hopefully he doesn't play this. He's going to play the second Ravager.
Ooh, mismatch Ravagers.
Oh man, I'm so triggered right now, you may as well call me a Chalice of the Void. So this Anger is going to be actually pretty good at least clearing up some of the board state.
It's going to boil the cards. It's going to boil the board down to 1 creature.
Yeah, there aren't even any islands in play to actually activate a boil.
Which I suspect will be the Vault Scourge since it flies and gains life. I can't imagine. I guess there's an argument for saving a Ravager.
Yeah, I guess. But you're going to have to sack 3 things.
Right.
So we're just shortcutting a little bit. Going to go to the upkeep. Going to get.
We're doing the end of turn upkeep blend.
Yeah, it's not really different. I don't think anybody's playing Storm cards in either one of these decks.
Oh, we've all done it.
You'll suspend Storm deck. I remember that from.
We want to get to draw steps and main phases as fast as we can.
Yep. Upkeep
and end of turn. Blah. Who cares?
people of end of turn effects are the people who play like Flicker Wisps.
Right.
So Shawn's gonna draw an Arid Mesa. And
He's got enough to anger and
Revelry.
And Revelry, whatever's left over.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to play out really poorly for Barclay.
Yeah, I think playing that second Ravager might have been a little bit greedy. But this does play around anger a little bit better. Because now he can just sack some things to it.
Right.
And then so he's gonna sack 3 things.
Well, you sack a Ravager to a Ravager, and it ends up with 3 counters.
Yep.
Not 6. Yeah. Starts with 1, gets 1 from the sack, gets another 1 from Archon Ravagers.
Counter,
Yep. I guess Barclay's just going over the specifics with Shawn.
Yeah, modular is a very weird mechanic.
It is. It's also a May.
Yeah, I know. I've tried to redirect a couple of them with Spellskite.
And then they say no.
And then they say no.
Trigger on the stack, redirect Spellskite. I choose not to do that.
I will choose not to. I will select the no option.
So, yeah, Barclay's just going to go all in on a big old Ravager here, or he's going to move them onto the Vault Scourge. Let's see what he chooses.
So he's still got one more thing that he might choose to sack. And I think what he might be considering putting them all onto like a Blinkmoth Nexus.
Yeah, for next turn, you mean? Yeah, keeping the Ravager and then doing it next turn.
But it looks like he's just going to put it all on Vault Scourge.
Yep, just like I drew it up a second ago.
Yeah, and then this Revelry is going to be actually very good.
Shawn has no incentive to fire it right away.
I guess the only thing that could punish him for that is maybe another Ravager, but even then he just respond to the Ravager.
A blue source of mana and then a Spell Pierce would punish.
Oh, sure, that's true.
And that's a legitimate thing that Robots does have in their sideboards occasionally.
That is actually pretty true. But if I'm trying to play around something, I'd rather play around one card and not a combination of cards.
True.
Unless, the combination of cards is the thing that kills you.
I do feel like this would be the match where the Affinity deck would bring in their Spell Pierces just to try to nab either an Anger of the Gods or a Through the Breach or what have you.
Even sniping a Search for Tomorrow is not bad.
True.
So we've got an animation of the Blinkmoth Nexus. This is going to get fired off, going to kill the Vault Scourge. And Shawn's going to take a poison.
Right. So what's in Shawn's hand?
I'm not sure.
I don't quite remember.
But looks like we're on Team Vault Scourge.
Achievement unlocked.
You played 3 of them. Now just the 4th one's going to be 3 cards from the top.
It's very specific.
I've been ousted enough.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like he's got 2 Spirit Guides and a Summoner's Pact.
He could.
Just in Grizzly Bear mode?
He could
Or
have.
no, was it not Grizzly Bear?
That is a Summer's Pact, right? Why didn't he Summer's Pact?
Well, there's a Chalice on 0.
Oh. Whoops. That's why he didn't do it.
Yep, I think we're in Hill Giant mode.
Is that a Hill Giant?
Or is that a... No, it's not
a Grey Ogre.
It's Grey Ogre.
Grey Ogre mode.
I get my vanilla creatures confused sometimes.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah, this is the problem with Chalice of the Void.
I have never seen anybody win a game where they've hardcast Simian Spirit Guide.
You might... I was going to say you might see it now, but those Inkmoth Nexus are pretty formidable. Because Shawn just drew an Anger, it's going to be able to take care of the Vault Scourges.
And the Glimmer Void.
That's true, and the Glimmer Void. So
it's a 3 for 2 here as he loses his Spirit Guide.
I think I'd take that trade every day of the week.
See, this is why you should never cast your Spirit Guides, because
this is why.
They're just going to get exiled.
Speaking of which, it is exiled.
The Glimmer Void's not.
Well, I mean, Shawn's Spirit Guide is, though.
Shawn, we just went over this. Alright. We're just going to let it sit, because it's not going to affect the game.
Yep.
And if I think it's going to affect the game, I'll go out there and fix it.
Alright. So again, Inkmoth Nexus is going to fly over. Going to put him on a clock as Shawn is probably just gonna play the other
That's fair.
Grey Ogre.
You know, we talked about him sideboarding out the Nahiris, and I actually think that he should have left them in.
Yeah, I think so too. In situations like this specifically,
Given that he's going to play, his game plan involves playing a Chalice on a mana cost that he uses.
crucially enough, this Engineered Explosive is going to be pretty bad.
No, actually, he can blow up his own Chalice and then play the Some Respect for Primeval.
But that will still be countered by Chalice.
Because
he has
it's on
to-
the stack, it has a different mana cost than X.
I know, but it's Sunburst, so it'll come into play with the amount of mana you paid to cast it.
I see.
So he can't, if he casts it for without paying any colors, it'll still get countered by Chalice.
Correct. I'll I'll go fix that here in a second.
Yeah, that is not actually how that works, because he didn't actually spend any mana, so it actually has a 0 converted mana cost.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Let's see if they pick it up.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
not.
Man, Sunburst is a weird mechanic. Yeah, Brad's just going over to make sure what's going on. Yeah, this is modern for you. Sometimes you have some weird interactions. Barclay's just gonna fire up. He's gonna fire up both the Inkmoth Nexus and attack for 2 poison.
Huh?
So he drew 3 Vault Scourges. He also drew 3 Inkmoth Nexus this game.
Oh wow. Shawn's dead in 2 turns.
But you still get an attack in, and that's what matters, right? I think that's
Go,
what
Spirit
matters.
Guide, go.
Yeah, just attack you, pass. So Barclay drew a Skill Overseer.
That's pretty real. But I still think you just push this plan until it doesn't work.
Now there's 2 lethal threats in play. And what does Shawn need to draw? Not a land.
Not a stomping ground. That's for sure.
Yep. So, looks like Affinity takes down the Titan Shift in 3 games, thanks to actually a Chalice of the Void that was more impactful for his opponent
Right.
than himself.
So Shawn led with Chalice on 0 on turn 1, and I said that I liked that play, and then he lost with the Summoner's Pact in his hand.
Yeah, and lost trying to cast an Engineered Explosives to try to kill the Chalice of the Void.
Let's bring you guys back to the booth while they figure out what they're doing. We'll come back into the shot here.
So,
Hello, chat. There's more through the Breach Valakut. There's a family of decks that all use Primeval Titans and Valicuts. And
yeah, they're all very much Primeval Titan based anyway.
Yeah, in the past I've seen Shawn play the card Scape Shift, so we just assumed that he was doing the same thing. Once again, no deck lists, so we just don't know.